You're watching WOLFpak Live. I'm your host, Wendy Fortino, and we are here with an incredible guest. I am personally so excited to have him here and have this conversation. The one, the only, Gunnar Peterson. Woo!
Wow, there we go. I didn't know you were. I didn't know WOLFpak was. I thought that was your name. I didn't know that was your whole thing. I used to have one of those. I used to love that. I got it at a where did I bought it at an Ursa show not long ago. I don't know where it is, but I used it actually on the motorcycle. So that's funny. That's great. They're great backpacks. That's funny.
Well, we're gonna have to restock you.
There you go. That's fun. No, that's
Yeah.
funny. I just saw it because actually they had little Velcro sayings that could be stuck on the back of the thing. I remember them. Yep, I have one. There you go.
Yes.
I'm in the game. I'm in the game.
You're in the game. You're already, see, you know what? We're already in. We already got, everything off to I was gonna say off to a good foot. Is that the saying? Off to
No,
off,
we got off on the wrong foot, or we're off to a good start. Those are the ones I would do. If you're one of those mixed metaphor people, run with that. But I don't want to be near you when you drop those in public.
Clearly, I'm not good at it. No, so we're gonna get right into it, but I have a little mini video, a little refresher, take you back to memory and get everybody just kind of get warmed up on a conversation. So let's take a look.
I like the early curveball. Let's see what you got.
The early curveball. Give everyone a little flavor, a little taste.
I've trained top athletes, Super Bowl champs, NBA legends, action stars, and people who just want to be their best.
He's the muscled up man behind Hollywood's hottest, strongest, and fittest bodies. You whip these people into shape very quickly.
They do the work.
Celebrity fitness expert Gunnar Peterson laying out specific workout plans for clients like J-Lo, The Rock, A-Rod, Sly Stallone. Is he lifting like crazy heavy weights or like...
He's strong. People always say, how do you decide who you work with? To me, it has to give back, right? I put a lot into this, and whether that's the gym setup, the workout setup, the planning of the workout, how we execute it, the pace that we try to follow, I like somebody who puts that in too.
The Bod Squad trainer is Gunnar Peterson, with clients including Sly Stallone and Khloe Kardashian. We've even seen Gunnar run Khloe through her paces on Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Drive and hold. Yep.
The results speak for themselves. In fact, Gunnar is so popular in Hollywood that the paparazzi often stake out his parking lot.
Gunnar's awesome. Gunnar has a really great, unique way of teaching, and everything's very innovative.
You're not selling fitness. I tell trainers that all the time. You're not selling fitness. You're selling energy. I'm 150 years old, and I worked out this morning, and I was giddy because I had a great workout, and I think as a trainer, you should do that for the people's exercise you program.
Yeah, 150.
You went back in the time machine.
Oh, I found some other things back in the time machine. Well, maybe we'll share those later.
Okay.
But okay, I'm gonna start with this. You've been around for a long time, and one common theme that I've noticed with you is in multiple different interviews, people call you a celebrity fitness trainer, and you seem really aversive to that. And I want to go ahead.
I understand that they mean it well. They want to be able to pigeonhole you or classify you in some way. I think it's a limiter. First of all, you'd have to define celebrity, right? What does that mean? Someone who's well known in the area. Then if you're in a small town and you're training the guy who owns 2 restaurants, then you're also a celebrity trainer. I think it takes away from, if you're a strength and conditioning coach. If I've coached pro athletes in a number of different sports and worked for teams, and you're calling me a celebrity trainer, you're kind of pigeonholing me and not maybe, and I don't need any of the accolades. I don't need any of the titles. I just like to do what I do. But if you're calling me that, then you're kind of taking away from what I've done in those other realms. Just leave it open. Just say trainer. It's a trainer. You would never say, I'm a celebrity lawyer. I'm a celebrity doctor. It just sounds corny. It's like sometimes as trainers have the need to validate themselves, and a lot of trainers have reinvented themselves as trainers. They failed something else before. And so they need that to make themselves feel good. I don't need that. I think I don't want to just be celebrity trainer, because you can also do yourself a disservice. there are a lot of athletes who don't want to go to a celebrity trainer. They want a serious strength coach, and I want to be that to the athletes, and I also want to offer that. I would say I train celebrities more using the modalities that I use with athletes than I train athletes using modalities I would use with celebrities. I would always come from the sports and movement side,
Yeah.
you know, to apply that to real life. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you were the LA Lakers strength and conditioning coach. I want to say I have mixed feelings about this. And here is why. Because I do hear what you're saying. I feel like, you know, you're down to earth,
Uh-oh.
very
I'm just
humble.
giving it some volume there. There we go.
Okay. You're down to earth. You're very humble. You don't have a big ego about everything that you've done. And I get that. But there is a lot that goes into being a trainer for celebrities. It takes a certain type of person to have done it with the longevity that you have and the amount of celebrities that you have worked with. And that goes beyond just the clout, right? I mean, people have to really trust you. The celebrities, they are in the spotlight. They don't trust just anybody. You know, if somebody's in the public eye, they're not going to want to hire somebody who is going to go and, you know, spread all their gossip and tell all their dirt in their life. So to find somebody that they can really trust, that says a lot about you and your character and who you are as a person. And I think it goes beyond, I mean, I get that you don't like the title, but I think it does say a lot about you and how you operate. You know what I mean?
I do. And yeah, you're not wrong with that. They do need someone they can trust, and they do need someone who's not going to speak. But, you know, you get asked a question. I had a celebrity tell me a long time ago, and he was, and I think it was, not that he was wrong to say it. I think it wasn't fair to say it. He goes, you can't get so busy being the trainer to the stars that you don't have time to train the stars. And I said, flag on the play. I've been here at 6 a.m. and I've been here at 9 at night. Like he came to my gym, and then in between, when I didn't have that, I went to his house. Like, I'm always there for you, you know, like don't act like I'm too busy. But at the same time, you can't just pigeonhole me into I'm only allowed to train and work hourly. I'm also allowed to create ancillary revenue streams. And, you know, you're an actor, but you're also a director, but you're also writing a screenplay. Like, you're reaching out and growing and spreading. Why can't I do the same? And so I feel like as long as I'm doing my main job at the highest level, that I should be encouraged to pursue other things. But I just don't want to be limited. I don't think, it's a cool part about being an American. You know, it's the freedom to pursue all those other things.
Yeah. There's a lot that I want to get into because things have changed a lot over the years. There's been a lot of evolution in the world of fitness. But I want to start with this. I want to start by asking you, you seem to have the same vigor, the same energy that you had when you first started doing this. And a lot of trainers burn out, you know, especially doing, you know, hands-on training. And you seem to be so passionate about it. And it's crazy because not many people can last as long as you have, much less be just as vigorous and lively as you are. You're so passionate about it. So what is it? What's the secret?
I like doing it. No one's forcing me here. I wake up, I pop up, I'm eager. I talk to my 9-year-old about that all the time. I don't wake up, oh my God, another day. I fly out of bed, I'm fired up, and I'm driving to work, and I'm literally thinking, when I have so-and-so doing the deadlifts at 8, I wonder if I might have him do the alternate, because he's been talking to me about that hamstring being tight. I might have him alternate the reps between RDL, like hip hinge, knee bend, hip hinge, knee bend. I might have him do it that way, just so he can feel it. Like, those are my thoughts driving into work. I'm not thinking of, I'm just, this is what I do. This is what I love. So it's not, I don't have any drudgery when I face it on the day to day. And I also train myself before I see my people. So I'm in it. I'm fired up. My body's ready. My mind's ready. And it's not something I go into with any dread at all. So that's how I find the energy finds me, however you want to see that. It's not, I don't have to drum it up from anywhere.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about online coaching? Because you do online coaching?
You mean where you're Zooming with people like that? I did a couple of those during the pandemic. I did it with the Lakers when they shut us out of the facility for a while. That was tough. Also, I like the in-person interaction. I like being able to read them three-dimensionally. I like feeling the temperature in the room that they're feeling. I like knowing what they're hearing. And so, but I think it's a great modality for a lot. The two guys who train at my gym here, Colin Shane and Adam Dirks, both have robust online businesses. I don't. I like to be in person. We have an app called Common Ground that we put a lot of effort into creating workouts that people can do if they're not here, if they're not in the area, if they can't get into the gym, that they can do those at home. So I try to make that as close to what we do in the gym, what I do in the gym, so that they can have that same experience. But and I did do with some people, not like literally I'm on the phone, they're on the phone doing it, and I'm walking them through it, and I do it like this, and I would do a demo and they would do that. But I don't think I thrive there. I'm probably not my best there. So I wouldn't say I push away from it, but I try to get people in here and do a one-on-one. I just think that's better. And I know that that's not the best way to monetize this. I understand that. But if you got into training to get rich and buy an island and own a helicopter, and you got in the wrong, I mean, like, you're as dumb as people think trainers are. Like, that's not what you can make a great living. You can have a wonderful life. You can enhance other people's lives. You can surround yourself with health and wellness, but don't get into this so that you can retire at 48 and buy an island. It's just silly. It's not that business.
You're a dying breed. You understand that this is very rare, right?
Yeah, but I am also realistic. I've seen enough people get into it thinking they're going to blow it up, and then I've seen people exit the building. People go, "You've done this, you've done that," and I would say, and you could say it's humility. I think humility is the dying breed. I've just outlasted people. You're not better than them. You're just outlasting them. And I can assure you that people who train with other trainers would say that person is way better than I am. It's like your spouse should love you the most. That's just how that works. My clients should love me the most, and somebody else's clients should love them the most. That's just how that goes. And there may be a shelf life to it, just like there's shelf life to other relationships. But if you go into it for the right reasons, and you're diligent with trying to always improve and put the best product on the market, and that means on the day-to-day with the person, I'm not just, if it's a restaurant, right, I'm not just trying to make a recipe for good penne alla vodka. I'm trying to make sure that every time I make it, it's that good for that person.
Yeah. I think that training is maybe not for everyone. I think you've said this before. You're not selling a workout. You're not selling a training plan. You're selling energy. And when you train with people, I've observed you, and you are an experience.
Well, you're selling energy and an experience. That's what you're selling. And I talk to trainers about this when I present, and I say, when does the experience start? Mm-hmm. And they usually say, when the person starts working out. I go, I would disagree. I would say it starts with how and when you return the inquiry, right? Whether they reached out on text, whether they came online to you, whether they called you, however that works. How quickly were you able to respond? And it's not a race. Like, sometimes it's legit. You couldn't do it for, till the end of the day. What was your demeanor on the phone? Did you push back on everything they wanted? Were you welcoming? Did you explain to them how might be different with you? And then I would say the other experience starts when they pull in and they park. What's your parking lot? And I used to half joke that in LA, our business model worked there because we had great parking. And if you spent any time in LA, that's a viable amenity. Like, that's not a given. Yeah. You go to a lot of places and you pull up and there's no parking. It's a bitch. And you go, how am I going to get here? I planned on being here at 10 o'clock and I'm here at 2 minutes of, and I'm not. And then they're circling the block and they're pissed. We had easy parking. That makes that we start the experience off on the good foot.
Yes. There you go. Used the Red Sea.
Bring it back. Segways for kids. Shout out to Bill.
Okay, funny thing about that though, about the parking that I kind of showed this in the video earlier is, speaking of experiences, it looks like it was hard to keep paparazzi away from you and your.
No, that was the rent. That's funny. First of all, they shouldn't be inside, and they know that, and I know that, and I had
Yeah.
a number of discussions with those guys. Said, fellas, I understand you have a job to do. I have a job to do here.
Yeah.
To do also, you just have to stay outside the building. But decorum is also a lost art. So sometimes they'd come in, sometimes they chase it down, or sometimes the person would call me ahead of time, hey, Jay, I'm being followed, can you help me out? And I go down and stop them when they try to pull in. But that wasn't, that was not a common thing. That was a rare occurrence, and it's sensationalism, and they like that. And I understand that they're doing a job. So we just have to keep them out and let us do our job.
Yeah. I mean, you're in the world. That's the thing about, you are spread across multiple worlds. Obviously, you're in the sports sector, you work with celebrities, you work with moms, you work with all different populations, which is awesome. But in that particular world, there is a lot of sensationalism. There's a lot of, the glitz and the glam and, exaggerating and stuff like that. And I don't know, I think back to my point earlier, which is that, maybe it's not something that you want to brag about or you have a big ego about, but I do think that if I were, if I had 100 million followers on Instagram and I needed a personal trainer, my number one priority would be to find somebody that I could trust, somebody who would never tell any of my, we would have our own secret world. And that is who I would be looking for. And so you've had multiple different people look for you specifically. And like I said, that says a lot about you and the way that you operate. You know what I mean?
We also didn't have any cameras in the gym, not even in the garage. And our landlord had one, and I saw it, and I said, "Hey, I'm not cool with that." And she goes, "Well, security in my building." And I said, "Well, my stuff is down here, and no one's." So we hung a towel over it, and there's never a question again. I never mentioned it, and just that. I just think my people should be able to get out of their car and come into the gym without being filmed. I'm the middleman in that equation. I want to get you from the parking to the gym in a way that doesn't feel invasive. So there you go. Let me throw that towel over that little camera there, lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have them here. I don't have them here either. I think my wife has one outside the gym here so we can see when packages are dropped off, and that's it. But there are no cameras in our gym. That's just not what we're about.
Yeah. Well, that's what anybody, doesn't matter if you're a celebrity or not a celebrity, but I'm specifically talking about celebrities because, as you know, we're talking about, right now, we are in a culture where the littlest tiny piece of information can get out. And if somebody has a world of followers behind them, it could get blown out of proportion. And I think that is an unfortunate and unique situation of our current generation. It's so frustrating. I've seen so many people in my world that I live in. It's crazy because a little piece of information gets out and then it's like the game of telephone. Everybody plays this game of telephone, and before you know it, it just blows up out of proportion. And I can only imagine being able to have that safe sanctuary spot. Is exactly what people are looking for.
But especially in a town like LA, which I love. I was there forever. I have nothing but good memories, good things from my family to my friends that are family now. My work experience was a 10 across the board, but it's a transient town, right? Like there are a lot of things that come and go, and it was this, and now it's that, or it morphs into this, and I'm not saying evolution needs to stop, but I'm saying some things people want to be able to count on those things, and I want them to be able to count on my gym being a place that's safe. It's cone of silence. It's safe haven. It's no pictures. That's just what. That's my gym now. Yeah, although I could show it to you now. There's a building right there now. We have a new building. It's going up now. It's roof framed, waterproof. It's live. It's coming up. So that's about to be double the size here.
Really?
Yeah, and Coop is going to come out again from Garage Gym Reviews. Love him.
Oh,
He
man.
came to my LA gym. He came to this gym, and he's going to come when 2.0 is done, which means also I get to take the 11 40-foot containers that are in the back and empty them and open it up. We have some outdoor space. I told the other guys here, Adam and Colin, I said, fellas, this is about to go from a gym to a performance center, so be ready.
This is so badass.
Oh, it's great. Yeah. And it's twice that now, plus our outdoor stuff, which who did I listen to? It's unfair of me I'm not going to be able to give him credit. I listened to he's got a gym in Austin, Texas. Forgive me for not knowing his name, but he was on the Coach 'Em Up podcast, and he said sometimes you get equipment and you have to sacrifice it to the weather gods. Maybe he said the sun gods in Austin, but I say the weather gods here because it could be sun, it could be rain, it could be whatever. But some of the stuff is going to be outside, and I think that gives it its own vibe, and it's just it's great. I mean, it's great. This place here is going to be everything we wanted it to be and more. So.
Yeah, this gentleman, he came and told you, show me something that you haven't shown anyone else. And you showed him this little board.
The Reacts board. I showed him the Reacts board, which
what is that?
Reacts is a company. They're Italian. I have their rack here that has these things. I think they're called Fluey balls, but they're these balls that are filled with a fluid that's more viscous than water, so it's a slower sloshing, and you can slide them right onto their own bar, or they work on Olympic bars as well. So they're dynamic when you're doing different movements with them. And they also have a treadmill that it doesn't just incline, decline, it oscillates. And so it randomizes, and you can change, they call it the interference. You can change the interference from 0 to 100. So you can be running on the flat and it'll dive, and then it'll pitch, and then it'll dive, and then it'll come this way and it'll hold, and then it'll take you up and drop you over. So the explanation is it mimics outdoor running, unpredictable terrain. Sure, maybe even if it's not that, it's different, and it just keeps you engaged. Like, this is not something that you're watching a show on while you're running. You better stay focused. I love it, and we do a lot of lateral work on it. We do backwards work. I have guys walking backwards while it's pitching, and I can start it at maybe just a 10% interference, and I'll take it all the way up to 30 with the backwards walk, and they're literally moving backwards. And so think about what I would tell them is, think about, you're in sports, you're in the secondary on a football field, and you're backing up, and maybe it's outdoor, maybe it's real grass, and there's a divot in there. That just, to me, the closer we can get to mimicking the unpredictability of real life, the more likely they are to succeed when they encounter that outside the gym.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Number one, no one's going to be texting while they're doing that. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Number two, I was just thinking, the example you just gave is a perfect example of when it would be beneficial. I was thinking, though, when you're going forward on a hill and stuff, you can see the hill ahead of you. But if you're going along, then bam, there's a hill.
Well, this has a screen with a yellow line on it and a dot, and then it does. And I think the dot is about a half a second to a second ahead of where it's going to go. So if the dot goes up, it's going to go up. If the dot goes down, it's going to pitch. So, but you're not really watching. To me, you're just reacting to where your foot strike goes. Like, you're going through your natural gait, and maybe the floor is lower than you thought, which is also, I don't know if you've ever gone down a set of stairs and the riser is not, it's 4 inches, not 6 inches, or it's 8 inches, not 6 inches, and it just changes everything. Your body has to be able to absorb and handle that. So it's a great tool. The React stuff is terrific. It's terrific. I love it. And the React board is an unbelievable tool in terms of doing anything from a Bulgarian split squat on that to a forward lunge, to a plank, to an up down, to a hollow body, all that stuff, while the board is moving the same way their React Run treadmill does. It's pretty wild. And I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not I'm gassing them up because they deserve to be gassed up, not because of anything else.
I could tell that you're passionate about it.
I love this stuff.
No, I could tell. Funny story. I was a track and cross country athlete, and I remember when I was in college, I just run like conference championships, and I won. I was in the top placings, and I went up to the stage, walked up the stairs to get my award, and I thought there was another step, and there wasn't. So I took a big. I could have used that training because I took a step and I fell on the stage, and I was supposedly an athlete and I totally missed a step. So something like that would have benefited me.
Yeah, for sure. And look, no guarantees and plenty of disclaimers, I'm sure, but that's the kind of thing that at least your body has been there before. So maybe
Step, bam.
maybe you minimize the collateral damage.
Oh yeah. So I think I can see its translation. I can see the benefits for sure. Okay. I want to talk to you about how the fitness industry has evolved because you have seen it all. But before we do, I have found this.
Oh boy.
I found
On your time travels, you found something else? Great. Can't wait.
Gunnar Peterson, and this is the accelerated workout.
Hey,
You're gonna
now.
work your entire body, head to toe, hitting muscles you didn't even know you had. You're gonna feel better and look better by the end of it. You're already working, bouncing on the ball. It's called Active City, engaging the core
well,
musculature.
the reason I'm bringing it, the reason I'm
The
showing
muscles
this is
surround the lower back
because
and protect your spine, keeping you upright,
this is the
long
days
and
of
lean. Slow it down.
maybe even VHS. So we had, we had
Even circles.
exercise
To one side, bring
videos,
it around, circle
VHS,
inside a square, hit
DVDs.
every corner on that square.
That was the way of the world. It was all about group exercise. And there was no social media. There were no influencers. I mean, we were living in magazines and VHS tapes and DVDs. And man, things have changed so much. So
I would actually say this. I stand by those workouts. I actually have that Core Secrets ball 8 feet behind.
I would too.
Set up. Huh? Yeah.
I would stand behind those workouts too.
But we still use that ball, that exact ball, which is people are like,
Really?
yeah. And I get probably now it's down to once every 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
for the last 20 plus years, I would get them once a week. Somebody would say, "Hey, my ball popped on my Core Secrets," or "Hey, I lost the plug to this. Can you help me?" And I'm like, I can't get some duct tape. I don't know what to tell you, but it's like they were still in use, and I still get people write about it, which makes me super happy because I feel like what's that? Is that's either Navy or Navy SEAL, and they say leave it better than you found it. And to me, that should be your goal in fitness. I want to leave the fitness industry better than I found it. I want to add something to the landscape, add something to the collective. I have a friend of mine, Randy Hetrick, great guy who created TRX, and like Randy left it better than he found it, right? Like the TRX is a phenomenal addition to any gym, 20 years ago or today. And it just, I like do it. So I stand by Core Secrets. We've done a bunch of things, but the Core Secrets, I love that product. I love that workout. Guppy Renker, who produced it, was great. All the people in the Anita Madison, all the girls who were on it. The director of those, Andrea Ambandos, like just a great experience. And the fact that it's this many years later, and I can tell you, I love that. Yeah. Yep.
I love it. I remember doing these workouts too. And it just, to me, it's just crazy to think about how much time has gone by and how many things have changed and how much the industry has evolved, right? And people are able to, because there was a bottleneck back then, right? If you created a workout program like that, you were one of very few who would create something and then it would go out and be executed out for the masses. Now, anybody can create something like that. You're a pioneer of a lot of things.
Ouch.
I know, it sucks, right?
And no, I don't know if it's true. Anybody can create that. Anybody's going to take that program. We did 18 DVDs with that. That's a lot of programming. You may call your friend Chat GPT up and say, "Hey, do a program on a stability ball." He's probably going to poach some of them Core Secrets. I don't know that anybody can create that. I think there are a lot of people out there creating a lot of stuff. There are some phenomenal creators. There are some phenomenal trainers out there, but there's a lot of other people, let's call them up and comers, who are still getting their feet wet with that creating it. And the product and the programming is not up to the standard. So
that's true. However, the unfortunate part of that is The
end consumer doesn't always know how to spot the difference, and that
yeah,
sucks.
that's
Yeah,
what's up.
that's tough.
So, I mean, we have incredible experts who are creating, but there is no bottleneck. You know, we don't have like checks and balances on that. It's kind of like, oh, I like the way that, you know, she fixes her hair, so I'm going to follow her workout. I mean, that's how people we don't even know sometimes what draws people, or people do really weird, crazy, creative, I guess you could say, methods to get people to pull into their content. And sometimes it's not, you know, it's not necessarily going to be helpful to the consumer. It just brings them in, right? Like clickbait, I guess you could call it. But it's just so different, you know?
But you also get, I think I would bet, and I have not done a study, but my bet is the common denominator is, and this is human nature, right? I like the way they look. They have a good body.
Yep.
They look like they work out, and there are those who do and are, and then there are those who are genetic and don't work out, and that's that. And their performance of a squat or a deadlift or whatever it is might be terrible, but because they look a certain way, people are like, take my money, I'm in. And I think a lot of them are probably well-intentioned, but I would say currently, just like in the past, you're going to find charlatans, and that's the plight of the consumer. How do you figure who's the one to go with, and how do you figure who's just ripping you off and not providing anything of value? I don't know. But then also you might get value from it. Look, I've said this about a number of exercise protocols and trends that have come up. Emphasis on the trend, like the negative aspect of trend.
Yeah.
If it got somebody who was doing nothing to do something and it didn't injure them, then you got to say, great. I hats off to that.
I like
and yeah, because there are some like, well, that's a dangerous form of exercise. Okay, maybe everything, walking outside is dangerous. You know, it depends. So if it got somebody who was doing nothing to do something, and they felt good about themselves, then you did something good. Let's recognize, though, when you start to develop a following and people start throwing accolades your way. I wrote this to a client years and years ago. This is funny. I'm going to segue, but I'll come back to the other. I wrote this on a New Year's Day. I have been working with Jennifer Lopez for years, and I don't know if it was New Year's but my feeling of just overwhelming. Let's borrow one of the buzzwords of today, just gratitude and happiness. And I wrote her this text and I said, I'm so happy to go along on your journey. And I want you to know that I understand the responsibility that goes with being associated with you. And you are always trying to raise the bar. And that has made me better at my job by seeing how hard you work, makes me want to work harder. And thank you for bringing me along and for recognizing that and trusting that. And I just, if I didn't say it, I would feel like I wasn't being honest. And she wrote me back and said, there's a reason God put you in my life. I'm so glad we're doing this. And it was like one of those, you know, let's hold hands, kumbaya moments. But I meant it at the time, just like I mean it today. So I think with that, even if your start is not on very solid ground and you start to get some traction in fitness, I think it's your responsibility to try to be better, to try to bring something more authentic and more viable and more results oriented, because that is what people are coming into, and they are trusting you, and they are giving you their time, and they are giving you their body, and they are giving you their money, and you do, in my opinion, owe it to them to provide a quality product. And it doesn't have to be, well, it has to be commensurate with the price. Yeah, maybe not. It has to be, the price of it is, the value of it is what someone will pay for it on any given day. So if you're always trying to upgrade and be better, then good on you. And that is what you should be doing, in my opinion. Not everybody thinks like that. That may not be the best business model. And some people are like, I really don't care. It's what everybody buys. I don't. I want the people who want to do the work. How, you know, here's the other question. How do you decide who you're working with? I want to work with people who work hard. I put too much into my prep every day the way my gym looks, feels, smells, temperature. I'm curating this whole experience. I want people who want it as much as I want to provide it. And then we have a great match. And then there's a relationship that's going to go on for years. I'm not trying to train everybody for 15 minutes. I want to train the select few who want to bust their ass all the time for 15 years.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that you, like I said again, you're definitely a rare breed, for sure. But with the people that you're working with, there is this exchange of energy. I mean, not everybody thinks like you, though. And like I said, with the change in and the evolution of the fitness industry, everybody's now competing against so many. I would say you're in a category where you don't really have any competition. You have transcended based off of your value. Your stock has gone up because of your experience and your tenure, and you've earned that. So you've kind of gotten to a category where people seek you out, people come to you. You don't really have to sell yourself at all, right? So you're in a very a unique place, I would say.
Well, two tangents from that, two tangential thought processes from that. One, it's not competition unless we're both competing. And most of the competition, I think, happens on the lower levels, and collaboration happens at the top. I'm the first guy, if I can't work with somebody or if I don't feel like it's a good fit. I just did this yesterday, actually. A celebrity reached out to me in LA. Hey, can you do? And I said, I'm not there. I'm in Nashville. And they said, Nashville, we looked at moving there. Darn, I'm in Hidden Hills. I really wish. And I said, stand by. I have someone for you if you're open to it. And I'm definitely open to it, but it's someone you trust. And I sent it to another well-known trainer that I know, Magnus Lagbeck. If you know him, he trains Gal Gadot, a number of people, and he's a phenomenal guy. I'm Swedish heritage. He's a true Swede and love him. And I had no problem texting him, hey, are you open to this person? He said, yeah, that's 5 minutes. That's 10 minutes for me. I said, great. So I would connect that. I'm not competing with him. I'm collaborating with him, right? That's how I want this to work. I want to share it. And I also believe if I put that out there, something's going to happen. It'll come back to me in another way. And I can't quantify that and I can't prove it, but I think that's just the way that goes. I think that's the eventual spillover or trickle down, however we want to see it. And you got to trust in that. I'm not trying to hoard all this. I think that's weird.
You're so busy, you probably don't have time to even notice this, but if you go online, if you go to social media, it seems nowadays that everybody is an online trainer. Everybody's selling a coaching program. Everyone's coaching coaches or coaching somebody, and everyone either is a coach or has a coach. It's definitely evolved to this point. And you may have been too busy to even notice that that's happening. I mean, it's not really in your world. You don't really have to focus on that. But I guess that's where I see a lot of the competition, and where people go to extreme measures in order to, pull clients this way or that way or whatever. And it causes people to resort to different tactics that are clickbaity and that maybe aren't based off of integrity, like what you really truly believe, and I guess that's a thing. I wish we could all hold the same values that you hold and maintain that fitness industry where people are just doing it because they love it and they want to help. I wish that was the case.
Well, I'm not saying look, as altruistic as your approach may be, everybody has to earn a living and everybody has to provide for their family. So you are trading time for money. What you hope is that it can be more than that. So let's take that as the baseline. That's a good way of putting it. Right? Let's take that as the very baseline. There has to be more than that, though. There has to be, once you're in that, then you go, how can I add more value? How can I improve the landscape? And, also how can I make more money? Look, it's capitalistic society, like it or not. You want to make more, you want to do more, you want to buy that next piece of equipment. I just added hedges out in front because I want to create a little more privacy from my neighbors here. and the hedges aren't free. So
Yeah.
you have to make, and you do it however you want. I just had a conversation with a trainer today. He said, what do you think? It's a big dude. He said, what do you think if I add like security service for my higher end clients? And I said, you can do that. I know some guys that do that for country stars. I know people
Yeah.
that do that. They do the security and the training. I said, you can, but you don't want to paint yourself into a corner where they can't decide if you're more of one or more of the other. What are you leading with? Are you a trainer who also provides security, or are you a security person who also provides training? To me, that's a tough. There are a lot of trainers that wear a lot of hats, right? You're a trainer, you're a massage therapist, you're a chef, you do all kinds of nutrition, you do supplementation. There are a lot of different hats you can wear. I don't wear all those. I'm a trainer, period, end of story. If I'm out with a client and they get bum rushed by whether it's paparazzi or a rabid fan, I'm going to step in. That's just my natural, toxic male. I'm going to try to step in there, but I'm not going to present myself as by the way, I also do security. I don't, but I will protect you as I would protect my wife, as I would protect my kids. Like, so you can wear a lot of different hats and you can create other revenue streams, but just don't lose sight of your core competency and make sure that the people you're trying to appeal to for that service know you as that first, whether that's security, whether that's training, whether that's nutrition, whatever your thing is. I've always felt better and more comfortable in my lane as a trainer, and I will refer out to a nutritionist. All right, I will refer. I'm not going to try to crack your back. I'm happy to send you to I use Philip Golia in LA nutrition. I use Fabrice Gauthier as an osteopath. He's I would say he's a step above or a couple steps above a chiropractor, very gifted with his hands. I would use those guys for those things. I used, when I was in LA, Sunfair delivery for food. I also think that's what makes you great at your job, if you can refer out the other things. I can't tell you how many people I sent to my contractor, my wife's OBGYN, my pool guy. I can tell you about school tutors. I can, all these things. You're a better trainer. You're a better in any service industry if you can refer to other service industries.
Nice.
And not try to take it all on board.
I agree with that. It's almost like it seems to me like you're so in your own lane, and this is what's fascinating about you, is that you're so in your own lane. You're so focused on what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you love doing the way that you do it, that it's like when I bring up like the evolution of the fitness industry and like how things have changed and what people are doing now, you're so focused on the way that you do it in your world that it's almost like you're not even processing all of that, extra stuff going on. And that fascinates me,
But I read all the time.
Yeah.
I look at Instagram, not to the point where, I have a degree from Instagram University, like a lot of people. I go to trade shows.
Yeah.
I go to URSA, which is now, what's it, HFM or something. I just came back from Sorinex Summer Strong, and I sit front row for all the presenters. I make it a point to be there. I meet someone like you, I do a deep dive on your page and your history and the things you've done. Yeah, I did. And you look at some of your podcast clips and you go, wow, that's super interesting that she's come up against that same issue or misinterpretation of what she does or what she is by other people. And so I stay connected to it, but there's a ton of noise out there, and I'm not, I don't, I break off the rearview mirror. I don't look back at stuff. I don't worry about so-and-so screwed you over. By the way, it's a tired story from trainers. Every person in every job has someone who screwed them over the way. It's just negative nonsense that you don't need to introduce into a conversation, coming home and complaining about another trainer did this, or, such and such a client screwed you over. This happens in every job. Your story is not unique. Like, keep it positive. keep it uplifting. Tell me something you learned about a different protocol. Tell me something you learned about a different piece of equipment. Tell me all this new data coming out on creatine going from 5 milligrams a day all the way up to 20 mil. Wait a minute, this is new.
Yeah.
Let's hear about this. Let's read those studies, and let's just not read the headline of the study. Let's take a deeper dive and learn about it in a way that you can apply it and share the information. And that's fun stuff to do. Don't send me the Instagram clip from it. Send me the PubMed study so I can get all the way into it. Yeah, I'd rather do that than hear you talk about somebody who stiffed you for 2 workouts or some trainer who poached a client. That's not interesting. It's negative, and it doesn't move the ball down the field.
See, I'm learning about how you got here. Okay, something else I found fascinating about you. Okay, I went to your YouTube channel. You have a YouTube.
I didn't know I had one. So thanks.
I was going to say, I don't know if you know you have one.
Didn't know. Again, I'm a trainer. I'm not a businessman.
You don't keep it up, but I did find it. And one of your
open to suggestions on improving it. So hit me.
No, actually, this isn't a suggestion. This is something I found fascinating. You have I think 4 or 5 videos. One of them was a dedication to Jack LaLanne. And that told me that must be somebody that has really shaped you and your life and has had a big impact on you. So tell me about that. Tell me about Jack LaLanne and how he's, played a role in your journey.
They call him the Godfather of exercise. He's who he is for a reason. I know Lala, Elaine, his wife, just had a birthday, actually. I've done stuff with them.
How old is she now? Like 100?
No, I don't think. Honestly, 92. I don't know. You got to Google that.
Okay.
And by the way, I would never tell a lady's age.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't ask. Sorry.
But I have a belt signed by Jack to me here. My friend Mark Derwin got that, and he just wrote something very nice. I used to have it above my office. People are like, why does that belt get that real estate? Who's that? And I go, it's Jack LaLanne. Who's that? I go, oh my gosh, do your homework, man. Come on. Yeah, it's funny. He set the tone, and he had a TV show that went, you can look it up. I want to say it was on TV for close to 30 years, if not more. And he said, thanks for inviting me into your home. Hey, get your mom, stand up, do this. And if you look at some of the exercises he does and did on the show, way ahead of his time.
Right.
Way. It was not just push up and jumping jacks. He was doing unilateral lifts, uneven loads. Like, it was pretty wild what he did.
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily call it that, but in today's parlance, that's what it is. And it's just amazing guy. And he fought the good fight, right? He tried to get everybody healthier, tried to get everybody to step it up a little bit, raise the quality of life.
Yeah.
You can't, and he was also performing wild physical feats.
Yeah, I know. Every birthday.
His 90s. Yep.
Yeah, like every birthday he did something crazy. But you know what was cool about him is that it wasn't his workouts. To me, it was the thing that the commonality I found between you two is that he was selling an experience. He was selling energy. He wasn't selling the workout. He was delivering, I think, the energy that people needed to get up and go. And I think that's, to me, from observational analysis, it seems to me that is the biggest thing that he kind of passed on to you. And I see you as a very similar kind of figure in the fitness world, somebody who isn't, everything there is to know about workouts. Obviously, we could talk about that all day, but it's the experience. It's the energy that the passion that you have for fitness. And that's, unfortunately, it's kind of rare that people stay rooted in that,
But what's that old Dennis Miller thing? It's a play on, dance with the one that brung you. Like, fitness got you here. So it got me here. So if you're not true to it, if you don't use that as a cornerstone, like the trainers who don't work out and have let themselves go, and they say, well, I'm older now. And I'm like, yeah, but you should modify your workout, because why would anybody past your age ever train with you. I want to be able to train people who are 9 and 90. Like, let's go. There are ways to get stuff done. I'm not going to work through it like an idiot, but I'm going to work around it. And I'm going to find ways for us to do things. I'm not going to say, I'm older, I don't work. I still lift.
Yeah.
I did cleans this morning. I did hip bridge this morning. I did overhead press this morning. Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to I'm not a weightlifter. I'm a workout guy. So I'm not trying to set world. Some people go, it's not a lot of weight you're lifting. Yeah, okay. It's as much as I need to lift right now. Don't forget, I did that. And then I saw 5 people. And then I had a meeting. And then I saw you. And then I'm going to go home. And I have a wife and kids. So your workout has to serve your day to day. It doesn't have to be. There are very few populations that the workout is unto itself, and then you rest and recover just from the workout, right? The workout is what services everything else for me. So if I do the workout and I'm, smoked afterwards, then that didn't serve me.
Yeah.
But if I'm an athlete looking to make XYZ gains, whether that's cardiovascular, hypertrophy, whatever it is, and I need to work out and then I need to take a nap, then that's all part of the thing. So you're training for you, and everybody's training for themselves. So how it leaves you afterwards, that has to be by design. I can't put somebody through a workout who's going to leave here and have a full day. I can't put them through a workout that destroys them. That's just I'm doing my job poorly.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's never too late to feel great. Actually, that was a slogan I had. I started my whole fitness career out of grad school at a senior living center. I was a wellness director at a senior living center.
Love that.
And I remember my first day on the job, I went to the lunch area and I had a woman come right up to me. She was this close. Her hearing was a little bit gone, but she was standing straight up. And she was like, guess how old I am? And she was this close to me. And I said, how? I didn't ask her. She asked me to guess. And I said, I don't know. She goes, I'm 101 years old. And it blew my mind because she went for walks. So it was my job to figure out how to get this population to exercise. These are like, 70, 80, 90-year-old people in this living center. And so we did, these people had never worked out before and they're 90 years old and they're still able to start something. Even at that age with no background in exercise, chair exercises, chair stretches. I mean, you name it, you can get the body to move in a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be a traditional workout with dumbbells and, cables.
There's a trainer in LA. If you don't know him, you should. His name is Ben Bruno, and he's an unbelievable human being. New paragraph. He's also a terrific trainer, and he trains a lot of people that you know. He went to, I want to say it was his grandma's nursing home, and he was visiting, and he hosted a workout. I know this because he posted about it, and he's sitting in a chair, and I think he's reaching overhead, and he's extending his leg, and it's like, it's for every level, right? And I guess if you can do it standing up, do it standing up, but he's demonstrating it from the seated position. So he's regressed the movements, but it's just, he made it accessible to literally everyone in the room. And I just thought, hats off to Ben Bruno for a number of things, but especially for that, because you made fitness for everybody, right? It's never too late to be great, as you said. And he's got these people in this nursing home who probably hadn't done that kind of thing in quite a while. And Ben's like, I'm here. This is what I do. I'm going to tee it up for the population. Let's go. And so I agree with him. I agree with what you're saying. It's never too late. And the body is incredibly forgiving. We talk about, I trained some people in Hollywood who had they slipped on a few banana peels when it came to the partying or drugs or whatever. And then they turn it around and now they're like fitness fanatics, whether it was back in the day, like they're playing tennis, and I'm sure now it's pickleball, whatever it is, but they essentially wrecked their bodies. And the minute they changed the behaviors and they changed their choices, their body was like, I'm right back in the game. And I'm not saying there's not lasting damage from a lot of things you could do, but the body is incredibly forgiving.
Isn't it so cool when somebody has a transformation, they go into it thinking they're going to change their body and it's going to be this new body that they live in. But I think it's what you've experienced so many times. It's probably why you're always on a high. I'm guessing is that, it's not, it's so much more, so many more layers to it than just like changing the body. Your whole entire world changes. The way that you think about yourself, the way that you experience the world, the way that you have confidence in yourself, the way that you become that person who decided to make a change, and you're literally changing the whole structure of your entire world by making this lifestyle change. And it's like that's the transformation.
Yeah, the body change is a side effect.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's good. That's
it's
good.
what happens because you do everything else right. You start to shore up the weaknesses. You start to put the good foot forward. There you go. And you make those choices regularly, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just stacking wins. And
Yep.
it's like you have better energy. You're a more patient parent. You're kinder to your spouse. You have more energy to do things with your spouse. You're absent less often, and then you look down and you go, oh, and by the way, I also love how I look. And it's, wow,
That's
cool, that's me in the mirror. And that, yeah, so yes, it may be primary in terms of when you set out, but it kind of becomes secondary or tertiary when you realize all the other things that are happening. And when you're conscious enough to link together, I embarked on this health, wellness, fitness, cardio, lifting, stretching, mobility, flex, whatever you set out on.
Yeah.
And all these things are changing in my life. Oh, and I ended up with the physique that I'm more comfortable living in. Just everything works out. Like, good for you, man.
Yes. There's so many things that I want to still talk to you about, but I'm gonna have to have you back because this is like.
Say the word. I'm in.
But I have one interesting thing that I wanted to touch on, and that is, you have worked with elite athletes and you have worked with, celebrities who have to make big changes with their bodies for an upcoming movie or whatever the case may be. For me, being in the bodybuilding space, for us, it's all about aesthetics, dysfunctional training, if you will.
Aesthetics? Is that two S's?
Aesthetics.
Or aesthetics?
Aesthetics.
Okay. That's what I heard you
However
say.
you want to say it. It's yes. But, I was a track athlete and a gymnast. And then when I shifted to bodybuilding, it was, I went from being a performance athlete to being, an aesthetics based athlete. And it was kind of like atrophying muscle groups, creating something. The whole entire way that I train shifted. For you train all different types of people also, people who want to perform well, people who want to change their bodies for an upcoming movie or whatever. What are your thoughts on the two different styles?
I think that's why the programming has to be individualized. And while we're all a head, a torso, 4 pentadactyl limbs moving 3 planes of motion, everybody needs to do different things for their end goal. So you can't cookie cutter work out it. And while the movement, I just talked to this kid about this today. I said, maybe everybody's going to deadlift, but maybe it's going to be a variation of, or a derivation of, or a regression of, but we're all probably at some point going to hip hinge because these are there's that list. There's a guy on Instagram puts it up all the time, but I posted it too. It's like squat, hinge, carry, lift, push, pull, rotate, whatever it is. And those are all the patterns and the movements and the way we do it. But now, and this is where your trainer comes in, or you doing your own. I'm not mad at anybody who wants to put their own program together so long as they're doing something. You have to do the right amount of the right things.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll split this. You have to do the right amount of the right things to serve what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you also have to do the right amount of the right things to make you happy doing it. So I'm not mad at you throwing in, for guys, I'm thinking 2 extra sets of curls at the end of the workout on a Friday. Knock yourself out, pal. I'm not mad at that. And if a woman has been working out all week, and I'm not trying to stereotype, this can apply to any anybody at
Oh,
Oh, did you lose me? Am I back?
there we go. Okay.
Something glitched. Sorry.
Okay. So
Wait,
you were,
am I there?
yep, you're here.
I can't hear you.
You're here.
You there? You can hear me? All right, I can't hear anything.
Oh, whoa. I just got, whoa. What's that? That's kind
I
of cool.
can't hear anything. Why do I feel like I'm lost here?
No. Here we go.
Am I back?
Yep. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can't hear anything. It's killing me.
Oh,
Anyway, anyway, all right. So if a woman wants to throw in an extra 30 minutes of cardio, extra set of deficit lunges, throw them in, because everything you're doing is serving your programming, sure, but it has to make you happy, right? And if you're happier doing it, then you're going to end up wanting to do it more often, which means you're fueling the fire of consistency and you're going to get your results. So that's that.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Oh no, we lost him. Stand by, everyone. We are on live television here. Let's hope he comes back in the next couple seconds. If he doesn't, I want to have him say the final word, but we may not get the final word from Gunnar. But I want to tell everyone here, thank you so much for tuning in to our live show. I'm hoping to get him back. Like I said, I was hoping that he could have the final word, but I'm sure he will be back, and we're going to get more from him. And thank you all for joining. And until next time, see you guys on the flip side.